Hello, welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl as we're back continuing our faction focus High Elf realms in Warhammer the Old World. Now taking a look at the possible mounts for characters. So let's see what they have got. So first up is your basic Elven Steed average stats. It's a light cavalry option on a 30 by 60 base, and it comes with its hooves as a hand weapon. So it can be used by Prince, Noble, Archmage, and Mage. Special rules, fast cavalry, so when in open order the unit may perform a quick turn even if it marched, and swift stride, so you're increasing the maximum possible charge range by 3 inches, and when making charge, flee or pursuit rolls add the plus d6 modifier. Normally I wouldn't choose this mount as I'd opt for the barded version, it's 4 points more. There are occasions I could see maybe a mage choosing this mount for the fast cavalry rule, or joining a unit where you need those same rules for the fast cavalry and swift stride. But most of the time, why wouldn't you go for the one that's going to give you that bit more survivability with the barding? And with that said, next up is the barded Elven Steed. So again, this is troop type heavy cavalry now, and it still has the hooves as a hand weapon, but does come with barding, and again can be used by a prince, a noble, an archmage, and a mage. Comes with counter charge, which is excellent. You get first charge, which is also excellent. You get swift stride, and you get Ithilmar barding. So as I said, Ithilmar barding, that can be a little bit situational. But the counter charge and first charge, it's pretty much mandatory now for to give cavalry that value. Is that most cavalry units are running around with lances. They need that charge to get the strength on the lances, so that's always good. And that first charge where you can the target unit becomes disrupted can pretty much guarantee that you're gonna smash that unit pretty hard. So I don't normally mount high elf mages. There could be occasions where you might want to do so if you're going to put them in a unit of cavalry, but most of the time I would consider putting my prince or a noble on a barded elven steed and have them join a unit of dragon princes. So again, like I said before, if I'm not trying to, if I'm specifically avoiding taking my prince on a dragon, for example, because I want to tone the list down or I want to do something different even, then put him on a barded elven steed and put him in a unit of dragon princes could be quite interesting. You've got the Griffin. So the Griffin's got good movement because it's got fly 9. It's got good toughness, wounds, attacks, and initiative. It is a monstrous creature on a 50 by 50 base. Equipment-wise, comes with the Wicked Claws as the Serrated Maw, which has no AP. It's the strength of the user, but it's got Armor Bane 2, multiple wounds 2, and 1 attack must always be made with this weapon. And this can be used by a prince or a noble. So, close order, large target. It's got D3 stomp attacks. Does have swift stride, which is nice. Now, the Griffin, it's 105 points cheaper than a Moon Dragon, right? Which is the cheapest dragon that a noble or a prince can take, if not having all the things they need for a Sun Dragon. Now, if you get that for 105 points cheaper, you lose 1 weapon skill, 1 strength, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, and 1 attack. You gain 2 initiative. So you actually have better initiative with the Griffin than you do with the Dragon. You get 1 inch less fly, you get less stomp attacks, and you get no breath weapon. Okay, so most of the time, if I'm going to spend a lot of points on a mount for a melee lord, then I'm going to opt for the Dragon. Right, but if your points are tight and you're struggling a bit because you're trying to do other things, a Griffin's not a bad option, right? As a compromise, you still get a decent melee mount, still could operate on your own with a tough melee character. The other thing is there's plenty of miniatures around. In terms of the Lord on Griffin was included in the Island of Blood box set, which was the box set for the 8th edition. So that was High Elves and Skaven in that box. So you had a Lord on a Griffin in that. So you can certainly get hold of one. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's a good compromise. Like I say, if you really don't want to spend all those points on the dragon, you want to include some more expensive units and stuff. Think about the Griffin. I think it's an interesting choice. You've still got the flying, you've still got the mobility, still got some stomp attacks. So yeah, pretty good. And you've got a higher initiative mount as well. So your mount's more likely to attack earlier in the combat. Okay, next up, the dragons. So you've got the sun, moon, and star dragon. There are 3 types of dragon. As expected, they've got good movement, good weapon skill, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks. And where are they weak? They're weak in initiative, which is pretty much one of the few bits in the High Elf roster that does have low initiative. They are troop type Behemoth, no surprise there, and they do come on a base of 60 by 100. Equipment-wise, they have their Wicked Claws, which is AP -2. That's nice. Good strength, because obviously it's user strength. Dragon Fire, which is a strength 4 AP -1 breath weapon. That's actually very nice. Strength 4 is a good strength to have, taking out infantry units, and AP -1 will give most of those units a problem. And it does have Draconic Scale, so the mount itself does have full plate armor there. Okay, and in terms of who can take it, well, you can have a Prince, an Archmage, and a Dragon Mage. No surprise there, clue is in the title. But the Dragon Mage can only take the Sun Dragon. Okay, so you've got close order, you've got large target, you've got stomp attacks D6. If you're using a Star Dragon, you actually get D6 +1 stomp attacks. That's pretty nice. Terror, Swift Stride, so they're very mobile. Fly 10. But if you're taking a Sun Dragon, you do have to deal with that Impetuous rule, which is the one that I'm less keen on. Now, the Sun Dragon, only available for the Dragon Mage. It's the cheapest dragon, but I'm not the biggest fan of hybrid units or the Impetuous rule. So kind of like the Sun Dragon, not one that I'm that over the moon with, shall we say. And then the Star Dragon is 55 points more than a Moon Dragon and gains +1 weapon skill, +1 strength, +1 toughness, +1 wound, -1 initiative, which I really don't understand why a Star Dragon would have different initiative to a Moon Dragon, but there you go. +1 attack and +1 stomp attack. For 55 points to gain those stat bonuses, that seems pretty reasonable. The strength, toughness, and wounds is always going to help. The extra attack's always going to be valuable, especially given that you're going to give this to a melee lord who's trying to get into combat. So I think that's reasonable, despite the weird reduction in initiative. I think in most cases, when spending so many points on a mount, why wouldn't you go for the Star Dragon? You've got to be really min-maxing your points to really think about the Moon Dragon, I think. I think it would be nice if there was more than just stat line difference. Like at the moment, with 55 points between the two and that stat line, I would like to see if there was like a special rule or something that made the Moon Dragon unique to the Star Dragon, where you would go, ooh, I want to take the Moon Dragon because he gives a buff to a nearby unit, or he does something different. So keep the stat lines different and adjust the points as necessary. But it would be nice if it was more than just a stat line difference, because you end up with a points efficiency piece where you go, this one is always more efficient for the points than this one, therefore this one's never taken. Give people a reason to go, that Moon Dragon's interesting, I want to take him, not just to save 55 points. But there's no doubt the dragon is one of the best character mounts in the old world, and if playing High Elves, I would expect most army lists to include one, unless avoiding them to tone the list down, as I said. It is a centerpiece unit as well. It's a dragon. People do like dragons. So people are going to gravitate towards this. But I definitely would think if you're playing with your friends and stuff like that, and you're having a bit of fun, beer and pretzel game, whatever it is, I would definitely consider whether you really need this unit in the army or you can do something different. But there are definitely occasions when, playing such a powerful character-ridden monster, it can feel oppressive, and it can have an overly large impact on how the game is played. You end up with just trying to delay this thing because you can't fight it. That feels like a feel bad as well for the player. So Definitely cool. They look cool. They're definitely good. You've either got to tailor your army to fight this thing, or say if you're playing these more friendly games, consider the other options. There are plenty of other options in there. As I said, maybe take a prince, a barded elven steed in a unit of dragon princes. And then finally, there are other mounts. So the following character mounts will be covered on the specific unit entry in the relevant category. So all the other mounts we've seen, you can't take them on their own. All the mounts that you see in this list are taken as a separate unit entry without a character riding them. So you've got Tyrannok chariots, Lion chariots, Great Eagles, Lothern Skycutters, and then the Flamespire and Frostheart Phoenixes. So they have their own unit entry because they say they can be taken without anybody riding them. And we'll come on to that in their relevant category. There you go. That's all of the mounts for the High Elf characters. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video as we continue through the High Elf faction focus. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It takes a few seconds, and it's such a big deal for me. So thank you for that in advance. And thank you to all those who have already done it. You've been watching The Ghost Style. Tune back in as we move to the core units in the High Elf roster.